Tower Defense Simulator has a huge amount of towers, which combined with tons of maps and different game modes, creates a vast amount of possibilities for ways to play the game. But is there one strategy which is clearly superior? To see that, I tried to beat TDS as the developers intended. First of all, I need a loadout, and I based my decision solely off the in-game text description. In the end, choosing these 5 towers. Definitely not what I would normally bring. I couldn't bring any supportive towers, because none of them have complementary text boxes, whereas towers like Mortar and Paintballer are touted as extremely strong and unusually useful, which I don't know if I would agree with. Accelerator and Turret were 2 better towers which did actually somewhat match their descriptive praise. And I was required to bring Toxic Gunner for a certain segment of the strategy. TDS actually has a direct set of instructions from the developers in the form of commander's tips, text blocks which naturally pop up in game, giving specific instructions on how to win. For the first round, I chose beginner mode, being a more unique game mode with specialized commander hints. On wave 1, the commander says to place towers, specifically to put them close to the path, so I placed a paintballer as close as possible to the red outline, and with its splash damage, it actually killed the zombies on the first 3 waves. Where in wave 3, the commander then calls for a burst tower, which is why I brought Toxic Gunner, and I once again placed it near the path, where, to be fair, it did help me survive the wave, and things seem to be going well. However, the next hint on wave 5 didn't really give any instructions, so I just held on to my money until wave 7, where the commander recommends to upgrade my towers. I would have liked to save that money for an accelerator, but instead I upgraded my paintballer to level 3 and my Toxic Gunner to level 2, which did not serve at all to kill the boss, as it got through with 95 health. Still heeding the commander's advice, I then upgraded paintball again to level 4, this time letting the boss through with only 58 health, which was great, except for one little problem, as in wave 9, the hidden zombie spawned, and once again, the commander recommended to upgrade my current towers. The problem with that was that neither of the towers had hidden detection, letting all of the zombies through, and after already taking damage from the first boss, I went down to a clean 3 HP. But in wave 11, the commander warns of mystery zombies, finally letting me place an accelerator near the back. Thanks to the long path, it was able to kill the normal boss and save the run. On wave 13, the commander says to not let the boss summon zombies, so I skipped the wave to get enough for an accelerator, my first real source of damage. But having skipped multiple waves, there were tons of zombies slowly leaking through, and I was now fully relying on my accelerator in the back. A speedy with the exact amount of health to kill me was about to reach the end, so I had to place paintballer quickly, where it killed it on the very last second, not even animating correctly. On wave 16, the commander says to prepare for a boss, so I upgraded my accelerator to level 2, and on the back end, I finally killed the last of the leaked zombies. However, the slow boss had spawned, a major problem with 1600 health. It got past my first towers, only having taken minor damage. As it slowly progressed along the path, a shadow boss spawned the next wave, with the commander saying I should have hidden detection by now, which I did, kind of. The shadow boss passed the initial towers and barely ended up dying at the back. However, by now the slow boss had finally reached the last leg of the path, and although I had gotten my accelerator to level 3, the boss still had too much health, and despite another last second placement, it got through and ended the run, proving that the commander does not know how to play beginner mode. But to give it the benefit of the doubt, I decided to give it one more try on Fallen, the commander having a new set of tips. On wave 0, he's less specific about where to place the towers, so I switched things up and placed some mortars, as although the tower is pretty bad in general, its early game damage is okay. On wave 5, the commander recommends cliff towers, so I continued to place mortars until I hit their placement limit. In this game mode, the commander's advice is not as useful. For example, in wave 7, he warns the players of tanky zombies, but he doesn't actually give any instructions, so I placed nothing, and just hoped my mortars could do enough. The next hint didn't come until wave 10, where the commander said to get heavy damage for the boss. I skipped the wave and placed an accelerator. As the game progressed, the commander gave much of the similar advice to the previous round, and things seemed to be going okay. However, around wave 17, I noticed that zombies were starting to get pretty far, and I took my first 20 damage, and on wave 19, I was about to die. I placed a turret as the commander warned of the necromancer boss, barely saving the run. However, when the Fallen spawned a few waves later, I just didn't have enough DPS to kill them, and I lost the game, proving that the commander's dialogue is not very helpful, and Mortar should have his description changed. Thanks for watching, subscribe!